The phenomenon known as the cult of Trump refers to a deeply devoted and loyal following that developed around the persona of Donald J. Trump, the 45th President of the United States. This term is used to describe the intense and often unquestioning admiration, loyalty, and emotional attachment that some of his supporters exhibited during his political career and beyond. The cult of Trump is characterized by several key elements, including his charismatic leadership style, the use of effective rhetoric, the creation of a distinct political identity, and a strong sense of camaraderie among his followers. This phenomenon has sparked debates about the impact of such fervent loyalty on the political landscape, democracy, and the broader societal discourse. Understanding the dynamics behind the cult of Trump sheds light on the complex interplay between political figures, media, and the emotions of their followers in the modern era. Understanding the factors that contributed to Donald Trump's rise in popularity and influence is essential for several reasons. Firstly, his ascent to political prominence represents a significant shift in the traditional political landscape, highlighting the evolving dynamics of modern democracy. Analyzing these factors helps us grasp how unconventional candidates can resonate with a substantial portion of the electorate. Secondly, the rise of Donald Trump reflects broader societal trends and grievances that played a role in shaping his appeal. By delving into these factors, we gain insights into the underlying economic, social, and cultural forces that were at play during his candidacy and presidency. Furthermore, comprehending the appeal of Trump's leadership style and communication strategies is crucial for media literacy. His use of polarizing rhetoric and mastery of social media showcased new ways for political figures to connect with the public, influence opinions, and mobilize support. Additionally, the cult of Trump phenomenon sheds light on the psychology of political allegiance and the dynamics of echo chambers, where individuals are exposed primarily to information that reinforces their existing beliefs. This has implications for the polarization of public discourse and the challenges of fostering constructive dialogue in a divided society. Ultimately, understanding the factors that led to Donald Trump's rise is not just about one individual, it's about understanding the changing nature of politics, the role of media, the psychology of voter loyalty, and the broader implications for the future of democracy. By examining these factors, we equip ourselves with the knowledge needed to navigate a rapidly evolving political landscape and engage in informed civic participation. Hey everybody, Ronnie here. I want to say thank you for watching. This video today is sponsored by, well, nobody. But let's go ahead and rectify that situation. Hit the subscribe button, give me a like, and throw a comment down to show YouTube that we're worth it. Now back to the video. Donald John Trump was born on June 14, 1946 in Queens, New York City to Fred and Mary Ann Trump. His father, Fred Trump, was a successful real estate developer, and his mother, Mary Ann, was a Scottish immigrant. Donald was the fourth of 5 children. The Trump family's background in real estate and entrepreneurship played a significant role in shaping Donald's early exposure to the business world. Fred Trump's success in the New York real estate market provided a foundation for Donald's eventual ventures. Growing up, Donald attended the Q Forest School in Queens and later the New York Military Academy. These formative years instilled in him a sense of discipline, leadership, and a competitive spirit. He later attended the Wharton School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania, where he earned a degree in economics. After completing his education, Donald Trump joined his father's real estate company, the Trump Organization, where he began working on various housing projects. His experience in the family business laid the groundwork for his later endeavors in real estate development and branding. Donald's upbringing and family background imparted a strong work ethic, business acumen, and an understanding of the real estate industry, all of which would influence his career path and shape his identity as a real estate magnate and entrepreneur. These early experiences provided the foundation for his eventual entry into the world of politics and the creation of his public persona. Donald Trump's journey through his early business endeavors and media engagements carved the path that would eventually lead to his political prominence. As the reins of his father's real estate enterprise fell into his hands during the 1970s, Trump's focus on monumental Manhattan projects, such as the Grand Hyatt Hotel and the iconic Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue, captured the spotlight. These ventures not only showcased his acumen, but also marked the commencement of his calculated dance with the media, a skill he would later master. In 1987, He penned The Art of the Deal, a book that soared to bestseller status, offering a glimpse into his strategic business mind and further propelling him into the public's consciousness. However, the road was not without its bumps. The late 1980s and early 1990s saw him grappling with financial setbacks due to a combination of overleveraging and economic turmoil. Yet, he emerged from these struggles by deftly navigating through the labyrinth of debt restructuring, showcasing his resilience in the face of adversity. A foray into the casino and entertainment industry, typified by the Trump Taj Mahal in Atlantic City, showcased his ambition, but also underscored the unpredictability of business ventures. However, his status as a business magnate transformed into something akin to celebrity when he assumed the role of the authoritative host of The Apprentice in 2004. This reality TV show catapulted him into the limelight as a shrewd and commanding figure in the world of business. Yet, it was his foray into the political arena that would truly solidify his place in history. Prior to officially entering politics, Trump's controversial promotion of the birther conspiracy theory, casting doubts on President Barack Obama's birthplace and eligibility, garnered widespread attention. His stance on various political matters, coupled with his media presence, began to paint him as a figurehead for certain segments of society. Then came the defining moment, his announcement in 2015 to run for the Republican nomination in the 2016 presidential election. His campaign, defined by unconventional speeches, confrontational style, and an adept use of social media, resonated with a significant portion of the electorate. What began as an unorthodox candidacy soon transformed into a shocking victory as he secured the Republican nomination and, against the odds, clinched the presidency in 2016. Through the early ebbs and flows of his business pursuits and media engagements, Donald Trump's prowess in capturing attention, coupled with his resilience and magnetic communication style, created the foundation for his remarkable shift from business mogul to political powerhouse. The Apprentice, a reality TV show that aired from 2004 to 2017, left an indelible mark on Donald Trump's trajectory, orchestrating a significant transformation in his public persona and propelling him from the realm of real estate to that of cultural and political influence. This televised platform became a vehicle for his reinvention, allowing him to shed past financial troubles and emerge as a masterful business tycoon, complete with his distinct blend of magnetic leadership and unapologetic charisma. With every episode, the show ushered Trump into the living rooms of millions, elevating him from a well-known figure to a household name. The catchphrases he coined, particularly the resounding "You're fired," permeated popular culture, magnifying his aura as a bold and resolute decision-maker. Such was the potency of his portrayal that it laid the bricks of the persona he would later bring to his political pursuits. The Apprentice also wove the threads of his political narrative, the very attributes that propelled contestants to success on the show: decisiveness, practicality, and an unfiltered demeanor, would soon become the pillars of his political rhetoric. This seamless transition underscored his ability to bridge the chasm between entertainment, business, and the corridors of power. Moreover, the show cast him as a linchpin between generations. His presence, amplified by his role as a TV host, transcended age divides, capturing the attention of a younger and more diverse audience than his previous real estate ventures might have reached. This newfound engagement with popular culture further buttressed his appeal. Ultimately, The Apprentice served as a precursor to his political foray. It provided the canvas on which he painted the vibrant strokes of his leadership style, strokes that would later become the foundation for his ascension to the presidency. The show's remarkable ability to merge entertainment, business, and politics bore testimony to his remarkable journey from a business magnate to a formidable political force, leaving an enduring legacy in its wake. The moment Donald Trump announced his candidacy in 2015 was a convergence of intricate factors that breathed life into his political journey. His campaign's defining thread was a series of controversial statements and policies that set him apart as a candidate unafraid to disrupt traditional norms. Trump's decision to enter the political fray was, in part, fueled by his portrayal as an outsider, untouched by the inner workings of the established political machine. This image resonated with a populace disillusioned by the perceived stagnation of the system. His background as a successful real estate magnate brought with it the aura of a dealmaker, someone who could navigate complexity and drive change. Bolstering his campaign was the immense media presence he had meticulously built, thanks to his reality TV show The Apprentice. This platform transformed him from a well-known figure into a household name, providing him with a distinct edge and visibility. His stance on immigration became a lightning rod, with proposals like the construction of a border wall and a temporary ban on Muslims entering the country, These positions elicited strong reactions, igniting debates about national security, inclusivity, and the ethics of such measures. Trump's rhetoric was often combative, taking on opponents with fervor. Nicknames like Crooked Hillary etched themselves into the political discourse, emblematic of his unapologetic approach. The 2005 recording, capturing his lewd comments about women, marked a low point, causing uproar and raising questions about his attitudes towards gender equality. Trade policies and healthcare reforms occupied a significant portion of his platform. His promise to revisit trade deals and to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act was a magnet for discussions on economic impact and healthcare accessibility. Climate change skepticism and his commitment to withdraw from the Paris Agreement underscored his departure from conventional international efforts to address global environmental challenges. The interplay of these controversial positions and policies, laced with the unexpected turns of his candidacy, created a vivid tapestry. While propelling him to victory, they simultaneously stirred divisions, leaving an indelible mark on American politics. Donald Trump's ascent in the political arena can be attributed, in part, to his adept navigation of both economic and cultural grievances within specific segments of the population. A crucial facet of his rise was his ability to forge connections with voters who felt marginalized and unheard. Trump's resonance extended to regions like the Rust Belt, scarred by industrial decline and job displacement. His promise to resurrect manufacturing jobs and rejuvenate industries struck a chord with those who had borne the brunt of globalization and automation. His critique of international trade pacts, such as NAFTA and the Trans-Pacific Partnership, aligned with workers who viewed these agreements as catalysts for outsourcing and dwindling opportunities. The pressing issue of economic inequality was addressed by positioning himself as a business virtuoso capable of bridging the gap. His appeal tapped into a sentiment of preserving national identity, as encapsulated by his America First motto. This message resonated with individuals concerned about the fading of time-honored American values and the encroachment of global influences. A resolute stance on immigration found favor among those anxious about its implications on jobs, security, and the nation's social fabric. Trump's rejection of political correctness mirrored the sentiments of those who felt constrained by mainstream political discourse. A distinctive facet of Trump's success lay in his emotionally charged rhetoric. His candid and unfiltered style resonated deeply with individuals who had often felt disregarded by traditional politicians. This authenticity ignited a sense of kinship and representation. His journey from real estate magnate to celebrity status made him more relatable to certain voters than seasoned politicians. His narrative of triumph, coupled with his role as an uncompromising fighter, drew those seeking an unconventional leader. Intricately intertwined with his rise was his mastery of social media. Trump's deft use of platforms allowed him to circumvent traditional media barriers, fostering direct engagement with his base. This, in turn, nurtured an aura of authenticity that resonated deeply. Donald Trump's rise was a product of his ability to channel economic and cultural grievances into a resonant political narrative. His unique knack for addressing these concerns struck a chord, fueling a fervent hunger for change and a reclamation of the American identity, ultimately culminating in his triumph during a politically charged epoch. At the heart of Donald Trump's political ascendancy lay a charismatic communication style that wielded an extraordinary influence, captivating his audience and forging a deep connection with his supporters. Moreover, his skillful use of social media offered an avenue for direct interaction with his base, further amplifying his allure. Trump's manner of expression was characterized by its authenticity, a quality that struck a chord with many of his followers. His rejection of rehearsed and polished rhetoric in favor of candidness lent him an air of genuineness and approachability. His speeches resonated on an emotional level, skillfully evoking feelings that ranged from fervor to empathy. This emotional resonance enabled him to create a profound bond with his listeners, reinforcing his influence. The simplicity of his language was another hallmark of his communication approach. Employing uncomplicated phrasing and frequently repeating key points, he ensured that his messages were both comprehensible and unforgettable. Trump's self-assured and commanding demeanor conveyed a sense of competence and authority. His confident stance played a vital role in cultivating trust among his audience, as he projected an image of an individual who could take control and navigate complex matters with conviction. He also sprinkled his discourse with humor and wit, using these elements to entertain his audience while effectively conveying his message. This distinctive blend of entertainment and communication distinguished him from his political counterparts and garnered attention, Use of social media. Mastering social media platforms, particularly Twitter, bestowed upon Trump an unprecedented ability to communicate directly with his supporters and the public at large. By circumventing traditional media gatekeepers, he took the reins of his narrative, presenting an unfiltered version of his perspective. His utilization of social media was dynamic and immediate. By sharing his thoughts, reactions, and viewpoints in real time, he cultivated an atmosphere of genuine engagement, making his followers feel an integral part of the discourse unfolding before them. Strategically, Trump's incisive and at times provocative tweets drew substantial media attention, ensuring that his messages reached a broader audience, transcending those who simply followed him on social media. He infused a personal touch into his online presence, employing a colloquial tone and punctuating messages with exclamation points, creating an ambience of direct conversation that resonated intimately with his readers. Moreover, his adept leveraging of social media extended beyond discourse. The platform served as a means of galvanizing supporters, rallying them around pivotal issues, and even rallying contributions for his campaign. The capacity to ignite action translated into tangible outcomes. The fusion of Trump's charismatic communication style, characterized by authenticity, emotional resonance, simplicity, and confidence, underpinned his capacity to unite his supporters and differentiate him from the conventions of traditional politics. Furthermore, his adroit exploitation of social media, particularly Twitter, allowed him to bypass conventional media channels and establish a direct connection with his base. This potent combination contributed to a singular and commanding political communication strategy, pivotal in his triumphant journey. The intricate relationship between Donald Trump and the media during his ascent to political prominence can be likened to a symbiotic dance, where their interactions were marked by a blend of attention, controversy, and strategic communication. This dynamic connection significantly contributed to his rise in influence, as his unique engagement style and the media's response to it amplified his presence on the national stage. Trump's unconventional statements and actions served as a magnetic force, drawing the spotlight of the media. The ensuing controversies provided news outlets with tantalizing material, driving up his visibility and public recognition. In the world of media, Trump's candidacy proved to be a boon for ratings. News networks discovered that covering his rallies, debates, and speeches yielded higher viewership, translating to a surge in advertising revenue. The relentless 24/7 news cycle, combined with Trump's prolific use of social media, ensured that his messages maintained a perpetual presence, generating a ceaseless flow of news coverage and conversations. His decades-long presence in the media landscape, coupled with the resonance of his reality TV show The Apprentice, had already etched him into the public consciousness before his political debut. This familiarity provided a launching pad for his political journey. Trump's embodiment of an outsider unafraid to confront the established political order struck a chord with those disillusioned by conventional politics. The media's spotlight on his anti-establishment stance further propelled his appeal. Through social media, especially Twitter, Trump circumvented the traditional media gatekeepers, forging a direct channel to communicate with his base. This approach fostered an aura of authenticity and immediacy, resonating deeply with those who felt unheard by mainstream media. His ability to commandeer news cycles allowed him to shape the narrative, accentuating issues that aligned with his agenda. This amplification of core themes resonated with voters and molded the contours of public discourse. However, media coverage of Trump's polarizing statements and policies also engendered a sharp division among the populace. Supporters saw his unfiltered approach as invigorating, while critics deemed it divisive. This division, in turn, galvanized his base and magnified his sway. Furthermore, his unconventional communication strategy prompted media outlets to recalibrate their reporting tactics. Fact-checking, in-depth analysis, and extensive coverage of his utterances became standard practices, molding the landscape of political conversation. The intricate relationship between Donald Trump and the media functioned as a potent catalyst for his ascent to influence. The media's hunger for captivating narratives and viewer engagement, coupled with Trump's distinct communication style, coalesced to cultivate a cycle of attention and controversy that thrust him into the public eye. This adept management of media dynamics empowered him to sculpt his narrative, establish a direct line of communication with his supporters, and cement his status as a transformative force in contemporary politics. Donald Trump's political communication showcased a deliberate and impactful utilization of catchy slogans and memorable phrases that etched an enduring impression upon his supporters, significantly bolstering his appeal. This rhetoric struck a chord of resonance among his followers, knitting a sense of unity and galvanizing robust backing for his cause. His strategic deployment of these catchphrases underscores his adeptness at messaging. "Make America Great Again," perhaps his most iconic phrase, encapsulated a commitment to reviving the nation's former glory. Its straightforwardness and optimistic undertone struck a chord with voters yearning for a return to more prosperous times. "Drain the Swamp" conveyed his vow to upend the established political order, promising a fresh start and heightened accountability. This rhetoric resonated with those disillusioned by perceived corruption and bureaucratic inefficiencies. "America First" resonated deeply with supporters concerned about the nation's global standing. It struck a chord with those prioritizing domestic interests over international engagements. "Build the Wall" was a direct rallying cry for addressing immigration concerns, encapsulating his dedication to fortifying border security and combating illegal immigration. Its visual imagery and clarity left an imprint. "Lock Her Up" was aimed at Hillary Clinton, embodying his followers' demand for accountability and transparency in politics. These resonances between his rhetoric and his supporters extended beyond mere phrases. Trump's communication style hinged on simplicity, rendering his slogans accessible to a diverse range of individuals, thereby cultivating a broad appeal. Many of his slogans elicited potent, emotional reactions. "Make America Great Again" triggered nostalgia for a prosperous bygone era, while "Drain the Swamp" kindled sentiments of frustration towards perceived political misconduct. The us versus them narrative embedded in his rhetoric underscored a perceived divide between his supporters and established elites. This resonated profoundly with those who felt marginalized by the political establishment, seeking a champion to prioritize their concerns. His defiance of political correctness, accompanied by a forthright language that challenged conventional norms, endeared him to followers who believed their viewpoints had been stifled. His rhetoric lent validation to their concerns and provided a contrasting perspective. The slogans bore a message of empowerment, positioning his supporters as agents of transformative change, distinct from the traditional political landscape. The repetition of these phrases across rallies, speeches, and merchandise forged a shared identity among his supporters, fostering a sense of camaraderie under a common banner. Donald Trump's adroit utilization of catchy slogans and memorable phrases transcended mere communication tactics. His rhetoric's simplicity, emotional resonance, and alignment with his followers' sentiments fostered a potent connection between him and his base. Beyond encapsulating his core messages, these slogans ignited a sense of belonging and unity, contributing profoundly to his political resonance and triumph. Donald Trump harnessed the power of social media, particularly platforms like Twitter, to fortify his support base and cultivate what's known as filter bubbles, virtual spaces where individuals encounter content primarily aligned with their existing beliefs. This interplay had significant implications. The algorithms driving social media platforms often present users with content that aligns with their pre-existing viewpoints. For Trump's supporters, this translated to encountering material that reaffirmed their loyalty to him, potentially insulating them from opposing perspectives. Content generating high levels of engagement, likes, shares, comments, is favored by social media algorithms. Trump's often controversial and provocative statements spurred strong reactions, catapulting his content to greater prominence within his supporters' feeds. The act of selectively sharing content that resonated with their convictions contributed to an echo chamber effect. Information within these circles tended to circulate among like-minded individuals, bolstering the reach of pro-Trump content. Moreover, Trump's direct engagement with his supporters via social media fostered a sense of personal connection. His tweets acted as a direct conduit, fostering a perception that his followers' voices were heard and validated. The spread of misinformation and the subsequent shaping of a cult narrative also played a pivotal role. The insularity of filter bubbles exacerbated the dissemination of misinformation. Supporters encountered and propagated content reinforcing their beliefs, even if such information was factually inaccurate. This, in turn, reinforced unwavering loyalty to Trump's narrative. Misinformation exacerbated the political polarization emblematic of Trump's presidency. Supporters grew more inclined to dismiss opposing viewpoints as fake news, thus solidifying their commitment to Trump's version of events. The proliferation of misinformation fed into the notion of a cult-like following around Trump. Those predominantly exposed to specific narratives were more likely to embrace viewpoints aligned with his rhetoric, often to an extreme extent. The prevalence of misinformation corroded trust in conventional media sources and institutions, resonating with Trump's depiction of himself as an outsider combating a prejudiced establishment. His rhetoric, frequently shared and echoed across social media, propagating conspiracy theories and alternate narratives, contributing to the blurring of lines between reality and fabrication. This cultivated an environment where his adherents rallied around narratives reinforcing the cult characterization. The fusion of social media's filter bubbles and the dissemination of misinformation solidified support for Trump by accentuating his message, fostering a sense of community, and sidelining dissenting viewpoints. This convergence, consequently, bolstered the perception of an unflinching and devoted following that has been likened to the attributes of a cult. The impact of social media and the phenomenon of filter bubbles on reinforcing support for Donald Trump and shaping the narrative around his political movement was profound. Simultaneously, the propagation of misinformation within this context played a significant role in contributing to the perception of a cult surrounding him. Social media platforms, designed to cater to user preferences, gave rise to filter bubbles, virtual spaces where individuals encountered content closely aligned with their existing beliefs. This dynamic had far-reaching implications. Supporters of Trump found themselves immersed in content that echoed their viewpoints, intensifying their convictions and fostering an insulated echo chamber of like-minded perspectives. Trump's attention-grabbing communication style was particularly suited to social media, where his messages gained widespread sharing, likes, and comments. This digital ecosystem fueled the amplification of his support within these insular communities, further solidifying his influence. The dissemination of misinformation within these filter bubbles significantly influenced the perception of a cult around Trump's following. Misinformation thrived due to a combination of factors. As confirmation bias operated within these confined spaces, misinformation that aligned with pre-existing beliefs gained a stronger foothold, perpetuating false narratives. This dynamic, in turn, contributed to the intensification of divisive polarization between Trump's supporters and critics. The rejection of information that challenged their viewpoints as fake news deepened their allegiance to his cause. Misinformation created an alternate narrative that diverged from verified facts, fortifying the perception of a steadfast following impervious to conflicting evidence. Moreover, the widespread dissemination of misinformation eroded trust in established media sources and institutions, prompting his supporters to rely more heavily on alternative sources that validated their biases. The distortion of information contributed to the portrayal of the cult by amplifying extreme or unsubstantiated views within Trump's base. This narrative fed into the idea of an unwavering and devoted following, seemingly disconnected from mainstream discourse. The intersection of social media and filter bubbles played a crucial role in cementing support for Donald Trump by creating an environment where his messages were amplified and his followers could connect and engage. However, the dissemination of misinformation within this environment amplified the perception of a cult narrative by reinforcing false beliefs, exacerbating polarization, and fostering an alternative reality that bolstered the image of an unshakable and committed following.